child was born from an incestuous kind of a conversation, whether a child was conceived from a rape experience, whether someone was, whatever the circumstances, where God has blessed with life, the coming together of a sperm and an ova or an egg. That is a human being made in God's image. Being full with that knowledge, it means that everyone has innate value. You are made in God's image, both male and female. None of them is an afterthought. The female person is not an afterthought. God made us in his own image. That human beings are either male or female. There's nothing in the middle. This is also a scientific fact because science is the study of creation. All right? So God created, then science comes to do a study on what God created. Creation continues even today through procreation. Once the sperm and the egg come together and God breathes in his life, that is no longer a sperm and an egg. That is a new human being. Now, if you follow through that conversation, you will understand that men and women are completely different. There are so many differences between men and women. Our sex is determined at the point of fertilization. Our sex, referring to either male or female, is not determined after birth. And it is not doctors or medics or the caregivers at the point of birth that determine the sex of a person. No, what doctors usually do is that they will look at the person who's been born, they will look in between their legs and proclaim and just confirm it's a boy or it's a girl. If someone is intersex, that is a condition. It is a condition of a sexual nature whereby over time the person, and especially when they reach puberty, it can be determined who is this person? Was he a male or was she female? So a person's sexual determination is made by God at the point of fertilization. Genetically, the male sex chromosomes are XY and the female are XX. Men and women are very different. In fact, there are only few similarities between men and women. Only three. One, both created by Almighty God of all creation, and therefore the dignity of human beings, both male and female, is inherent. Everyone has dignity, irrespective of whether they have challenges or whether they have, we all have our own weaknesses, or someone has a disability. That does not change the dignity of that person. So both male and female, both have dignity. The second thing is that both are intelligent. None is more intelligent than the other. All right? Both are intelligent. Number three, both have free will. Both male and female can make a choice, both for God or not. And that is it. Everything else is different. And the Y chromosome is the key differentiator between males and females. We all have gonads, the part of the reproductive system that produces and releases eggs, that is in the ovary, that is for the woman, or sperm that is released by the testes or the testicles. Both of us, both male and female, have gonads. But the Y chromosome turns gonads into testes. It is the determinator. The testes produce testosterone for boys, and the lack of chromosomes allows gonads to turn into ovaries for girls. And that is at the core of who human beings are. That is why you see for men, the outcome, because of the Y chromosome, they're generally bigger, good judge of speed and distance, they are aggressive, they're competitive, their bodies are masculine, they're risk takers, they're territorial, and their fertility is throughout their life. Those are just some of the differences. Now, if you consider with women, they, or us as women, we can use both hemispheres of our brains. We can multitask very easily, but also become very distracted and easily distracted. We are poor judges of speed and distance. We focus on detail, therefore tend to be historical and focus on short term. We have feminine body structures. We are generally smaller than the male person. We are less aggressive, we are accommodative, we are risk averse. And it is really because of the role we must play of preserving life. Our fertility is limited by menopause. And it has implications, this one has direct implications on our career choices and our timings. And as you can see, we are very different between male and female. The male and female organs, therefore, are designed for compatibility. The male genitals are designed to deliver the male seed into the woman. The female genitals are designed to receive the male seed, facilitate fertilization, implantation, growth, birth, and nursing of the child. In other words, our bodies are fit for purpose. Now, let's look at the adolescent and why the teenagers are the most vulnerable. It is because, as opposed to the way we would imagine, the brain is the last organ to mature. So therefore, for many, if not a majority, the sexual maturity starts about 8 years and is complete by about 15 years with development of secondary sexual characteristics. However, the part that is associated with reasoning, or the cortex, matures between 21 and 24 years. Therefore, the summary is that sexual maturity comes about 10 years before reasoning maturity. That is why there is such a coordinated focus to corrupt the adolescents before they mature up. By the time they mature, some of them look back and they regret the decisions that they made when they were adolescents. And that is why the crucial responsibility of parents to guide, instruct, train the young people, not to affirm them in their confusion or even deviant behavior. It is for us to correct them. No wonder, knowing that Africa is largely youth, 70% is youth, that in fact our median age in Africa is 16, no wonder the forces of darkness are very well intent on corrupting our adolescents. Because if they sexualize them and they take them away from the parents, it's game over. It's a game over. They have won. Let us understand our relationships. That in God's representation, life involves living. Family life involves living our sexuality through marriage. That is at God's core. Therefore, honoring God and our parents. And when you think about that, it is very sad that this model is absent from many households, many families, because of different realities of life. It could be death, it could be divorce or separation, it could be many other realities that probably take the parents away from the children. So that the children or the teens, they feel that their parents don't care. They feel that their parents are not bothered about them. But many parents actually, if you interact with parents, you discover parents care about their children. Of course, there are few here and there who really don't care. And it's also because largely many parents are wounded and broken And depending on the extent of that and the support system around parents, they will be seen as not caring and not bothered by the adolescents. But in God's perspective, this image captures how God views that space called family or the household. God is the source of marriage. He is the creator of male and female, and he brought the male and the female together. And he brought the husband, Adam, brought Eve to him, who is his wife, and made a family. So that God ought to be in the center of how husband views wife and how wife views husband. Of course, this isn't the ideal, and we must aspire towards the ideal, even when it is not working as effectively. But it is to this too that God entrusts life. And God says in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, he says, I knew you, Jeremiah, before I formed you. Now that is interesting. Before that sperm and that egg came together to form Jeremiah, God says, I knew you. In other words, we are spirit being. And God knows us before he fashions our body, before he places our souls into this tent called the body. God knows us. We were first in God's mind. So no one is an afterthought. No one is an accident. Therefore, as we raise our children in our families, how should we bring